What's up YouTube, Jeff back from Sammy Guru here, another exciting Samsung video for you guys today. And today I'm doing something very fun, for me anyway. It's a 6-month revisit slash review of the Galaxy Z Fold Special Edition. Now when this first came out, I made a pretty detailed unboxing, camera, overview, and did a bunch of camera samples, talked about it after 1 week, made quite a few videos on this, did a full review on it, and I really love the phone. Not very many people in the US have one, obviously. It's a Korean exclusive. But this phone is really a preview of the Galaxy Z Fold 7 that we're going to see release in about 2 months. So I want to take this time to make this video for everybody who's considering a Galaxy Z Fold 7, because this is really a Z Fold 7 preview, and talk about a few things that I want to see Samsung change and what we know that they are working to change for the Z Fold 7. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys, make sure you check out our website, sammyguru.com. Covering the latest Samsung news, tips, tricks, tutorials, and reviews. You can also join our mystery box program if you tap the orange banner at the top if you're in the US. If you're going to purchase a Z Fold 7 or Z Flip 7, just tap on the phone you're interested in, put in your phone number or your email or both. You get a free case, cleaning kit, desktop phone stand, screen protector, and other randomly inserted goodies. You pay nothing. We cover the cost of shipping and all the items in the box. All you have to do is use our Samsung affiliate link to make your purchase. That's how we fund the program. Pay for all the items as well as the shipping. All of that will be in the pinned comment description if you're interested. So let's talk a little bit about the build of this phone after having used this for a total of about 6 months. This is the thinnest foldable that I've ever used on the daily until I got, and a lot of you guys know that I went out and got this one mainly just for the purpose of comparing it to the Z Fold Special Edition. This is the Oppo Find N5, and you guys can actually see them here side by side on the review table. They're not really that strikingly different. People say, oh wow, the Oppo Find N5 is so slim. Well, not really if you compare it to the Z Fold Special Edition. It's a lot thinner than the Z Fold 6, but not so much when you compare it to the Z Fold Special Edition. Now, of course, the other big difference between these two phones, and the reason I got the Oppo Find N5, is because I've always felt like what I really wanted with a foldable was that I wanted a phone whose screen was basically as wide as a regular size, device. Like for instance, over here, Galaxy S25 Ultra, this is my international unit. It keeps tapping the back of the Z Fold SE. This is basically just as wide as an S25 Ultra. However, I realized after using these two phones side by side for some time that I actually prefer the screen on the Z Fold SE, and here's why. The Z Fold SE, when you unfold it, has a much nicer aspect ratio. I do feel like the Z Fold 6 is still too narrow for me, but the Z Fold SE has gotten a bit wider. You can actually see, let's see if I put these two phones together here like this, you can see the width. We put them kind of hinge to hinge. You can see the width there. The Oppo Find N5 is a little bit wider, but it's not like super crazy. And to be honest with you, I prefer the Z Fold SE for a lot of reasons, not just because of that, but because of the brightness. The Z Fold SE is so much brighter than the Oppo Find N5. I don't know if I can really compare them with the inner screens, but the inner screens particularly, if you put these side by side under the studio lights, you can see the brightness difference between them. I've got the colored pencils everywhere. But if you turn up the brightness here on the Z Fold SE, and then the brightness on this guy, the Z Fold SE is just mind-numbingly brighter, especially outdoors here in Arizona. That really makes a huge difference. So that's something where I felt like the Z Fold SE actually was superior to the Oppo Find N5. And even though I've always felt like I really wanted the experience where you have that cover display that kind of feels like a regular phone, the issue is when you open it up, you have a square aspect ratio, which isn't as great for doing things like, browsing the internet, reading, and all the other kind of stuff that you want to do with a phone. It might be great for the outer display being, that phone-like shape, but the Z Fold SE definitely feels wide enough now to where I feel like I can do things, like typing, sending tweets, sending emails, whatever I want to do. I don't feel like it's too narrow like I did with the Z Fold 6. I definitely feel like the Z Fold 6, I'll turn the brightness down a little bit because it is definitely will scorch your retinas. Like I said, the Z Fold SE, I find the displays to be superior to the Oppo Find N5 in pretty much every way. Now, in terms of durability, I've also found this phone to be incredibly durable. I've never had any problems with Samsung's foldables. I've been using this every day along with my S25 Ultra since I got it. This is my second phone. I carry it every day. I use it every day. for media, for gaming, for multitasking, because it is such a great companion to the S25 Ultra. And I do really feel like the crease on this phone is actually still a lot less noticeable than the Z Fold 6. It definitely has gotten more noticeable over time. Whenever you unbox a foldable, it always seems like the crease is like crazy, crazy invisible, and it's not. Over time, it always gets worse. But I definitely feel like on this particular phone, it has continued to be an improvement over the Z Fold 6. I also do like the design here in terms of the thinness. The profile makes it a lot more pocketable. It doesn't feel as heavy, doesn't feel as bulky as the Z Fold 6. The camera module, I could do without this. It kind of mimics the camera module that you find on the Galaxy S25 Ultra as well. I think they can improve that a little bit. But the camera itself has been fantastic with that 200 megapixel main shooter. You can expect that to come to the Galaxy Z Fold 7 later this year. And I think you'll be very pleased to have that sensor on a foldable. We should still see 3 cameras, unlikely to get anything beyond 3x zoom, which is disappointing, but I've been able to make do with that so far on the Z Fold SE. This textured back is absolutely fantastic, and I actually prefer that over the Z Fold 6 as well. They did an amazing job with the design and just unfolded incredibly thin, light, easy to use, and beautiful displays. Now, when I first got this device, it did not have One UI 7. It had One UI 6.1.1, and now it does have One UI 7, and that is an absolutely amazing addition to this device. I will say though, Samsung still needs to optimize some of the spacing things. You can see when it's unfolded, you've got a lot of unused space in the margins, on the notifications as well. Same story that I talked about with tablets on the Tab S10 FE Plus. There are things that Samsung could do to optimize and improve the space. They've done some things like the dual panel settings, the dual panel information in My Files, but there's still a lot more optimization that could happen here for the foldables. But I do think it looks better than the tablet, and it runs very, very smooth, makes multitasking an absolute dream on this device. Now, one thing I will say about the Oppo Find N5, and one feature that I really would love to see Samsung add to their multitasking software, is when you have multitasking going on the Oppo Find N5, let me just take something like YouTube. Let's put this in split view. And then let's open X. Now I can actually bring in another application. So if I swipe up here, and let's say that I want to bring in Chrome, I can actually bring in Chrome and add it to the split view here with the open canvas. And now I can actually slide through these 3 different windows all at one time in multi-view. That's something Samsung should really consider adding. I know that Samsung has really been the king of multitasking for a long time, but I do feel like Oppo and OnePlus have taken it to the next level on the foldables, and you can actually make these full screen as well. You don't have to keep them in this letterboxed format. And the multitasking is awesome on the Oppo Find N5. I will say that. I have to hand it to OnePlus and Oppo. They really did a great job with this device in terms of the multitasking. But otherwise, I mean, OnePlus has done some nice things, but One UI 7 is still better in my opinion in almost every other way. The aesthetics of it, the animations, the fluidity, and of course you don't get good lock on a OnePlus phone. So if Samsung could make that small tweak, it would be a nice addition, but definitely not a deal breaker. One thing that we do expect Samsung to fix with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, of course, is, as you guys know, we do have the punch hole right up here. When you're watching video, this can be a little distracting. So if you do full screen video, let's see if I can show you guys here just by rotating. I don't even know if I have it in auto rotate. I never do. Whenever I want to do it in video, I never have it in auto rotate when I want to show something. So if you pinch to fill this entire thing, you'll see right there how the punch hole kind of does get in the way of the content. It doesn't distract me over time, but it would be much better to have the under display camera. Samsung is apparently working on that for the Z Fold 7. So hopefully this will not be an issue that is present when the Z Fold 7 launches later this year. The one concern that I will say is for a foldable, the battery life could be better because the battery could be bigger. The Z Fold 7 is supposed to launch also with a 4400 milliamp hour battery. I don't get the most amazing battery life out of this phone. Probably slightly less than my S25 Ultra, maybe around 5 hours, 5.5 hours screen on time. I get around 6 to 6.5 on the S25 Ultra. So I'd certainly like to see that be a little bit better, particularly with the slow charging speeds that Samsung is still offering. That's definitely a place that they could perform and improve for sure. But overall, I absolutely love this foldable. I think if you're gonna plan to buy a foldable this year, if you want a Z Fold This is the year to get it. They're finally going to make some big improvements. We might have some improvements to the S Pen, so it may no longer require the digitizer. You're going to have the new processor. You're going to have this new look, thinner design, bigger screens, bigger cover display, better cameras, all around upgrade that mimics the Z Fold SE and hopefully improves on a few of those things that I talked about earlier, like the under display camera, and maybe a few new multitasking tricks in One UI 8, which will come preloaded on the Z Fold 7 in July. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification icon for future videos like this. Check out sammygrew.com, the mystery box program, if you're going to buy a Z Fold 7, Z Flip 7, or S25 Edge. Appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.